Hey, and welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you're here, and I hope this video finds you doing well. Now, I want to say, before we continue on with the video, if you haven't already, go ahead and get yourself something to drink, maybe a little snack, kind of sit in and relax into this video. So just put us on pause and then come right back as soon as you get those two things. As you see here, I got a big cup here because I plan on sipping on some stuff because I think we're going to get a little deep in this video. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. Now, I want to say that throughout this year, there has been a particular phrasing that has kind of run through my mindset, and it's just always been in the forefront of when I was looking at ways that I can move forward throughout the year with a lot of things that I had planned that were now being placed on hold, looking how I was going to be able to adjust, through just simply getting through this year, It's been a hard one, as we all know, and it's just so important to try to find ways to focus on positive things. And when you're not able to embrace all the positivity, being able to put yourself in a position to know when to reflect and rest and restore, if you will, to get yourself, going through the rest of the year. So I just think that's really important. But the phrasing that has been running through my mindset and has stayed at that just right in the front is living in your purpose. And I don't know too many years, quite frankly, where that has reigned so true as a concept or a thought process in me as this year has. And let me tell you, I have had a life full of transition. I've lived in many different areas. I've had to restart and reset my life over many times, mostly predominantly due to the career that I had chosen for my lifetime. So yeah, moving around and doing different things and having to get a new rhythm going has not been anything that is new to me. But this year, naturally, with everything that's been going on and a lot of the uncertainty that's been going on, it really has zoned in that concept of living in your purpose. And what I see living in your purpose to mean is basically, showing up in the way that you want to be perceived in what you're doing, and showing up in the way of what it is you want to be doing, what you're called to do, what you feel deep in your heart, in your soul, in your bones, as to what you should be doing with your time and how you should be showing up in the world. I think often when I think of that phrasing, of living in your purpose, I think of many times throughout my career where I've had to make some of those significant changes to know that those things were going to be changes that were going to forever affect my life. And I would find myself coming to a proverbial fork in the road. And it would be looking down one path where I could see everything that's going on. And that was actually being in the path that I currently was in. So I just saw this roadmap, if you will. Okay, I saw where this is the next step I'm going to be taking in this endeavor. This is the next thing that's going to be coming up. So I know that, this is how this is going to play out, right? There wasn't a lot of mystery to that. Naturally, with the different things that happen throughout our lives that we are not able to control, there are things that come up that, we just have to adjust, be flexible, and adapt and move forward. And sometimes that can be easier in some cases than others, but you just have to roll with the punches, right? And you just have to figure out a way to get things in order for yourself in order to make that push to move forward. And so when I think about those times, or in this particular example, I should say, I really was kind of out of a loss a little bit because, again, down that one path, I really saw the way things were going to lay itself out, right? I was familiar with everything that was going on at the current space, and there wasn't going to be many differences professionally, if you will, that were going to change. And then we had this other lane, and I couldn't see anything. One thing that I find that I'm grateful to have is some sense of intuition. And now that's not new to just me or only just for me, but really zoning in on listening to that as much as I can, and just paying attention to that little voice, or that little something movement within you that lets you know that something needs to make a change here. So I've always kind of just rested in that space. And typically if I did not follow in that line, I'd probably go in the wrong direction, and I would probably quickly figure that out. And then I'd end up making a reverse and going back the way that I really felt that I should have felt. So when I, again, was looking down this lane, I was just, I couldn't see anything. I didn't know where I was going to lead. I didn't know where this new path was going to take me. I didn't know what it was that I was going to have to do. I just didn't see anything, And interesting enough, my pull, my drive, my inner essence pulled me to that direction. And, has that kind of happened to you? I mean, let me know. Tell me in the comments, is that something that you've experienced, that, you come to this proverbial fork in the road when you have to make a huge decision that could be a massive sacrifice and definitely altering life change, and then kind of felt that, the current path you were on, of course, would be the safe path, but really wasn't inertially the path you wanted to take. It wasn't where you felt you're called to do. It wasn't where your passions lie to go. It's almost like a vortex kind of pull. If you've ever felt like that, I would love to know, because I've never really talked to anybody about that, other than my mom. And maybe my best friend Mia. I might have talked to her about that. But it's not something that, I have a conversation about all the time. And so it's just kind of interesting to really hear others' examples of when they may have felt that way, and if they felt that way at all. And, yeah, so just let me know. I really would like to know. So if you feel comfortable sharing. So anyway, I went and made the decision that I was going down this path that was the unknown, was the direction that probably wasn't the safest. And with the type of personality that I am one that really relies on structure. And I like things to be somewhat in a certain order. It doesn't mean it has to be, laid out in every single aspect of a plan, but there needs to be some order to it. It needs to make some sense to me. Otherwise, it just doesn't sit well with me. And I usually will reject things that don't sit well with me in that decision process, and will stop and sit back kind of and just reflect on what it is and really think it through before I make that decision. So that's just a lot of what my personality is. And, at the end of the day, when you are making decisions that are going to forever uproot and change what you know it is to be, you want to be sure to some extent, right, that, this is not a gamble that will hurt you in the end, or bring about regret. Now, someone would say, you know what, you really shouldn't have regret in life. I mean, you only have one life to live, right? So, you got to do what works and what makes you happiest. Now, does that mean that will align with, being in positions where you may have to do things that you don't want to do? Funny thing is, that's a situation for all of us. That's how we all evolve in life, right? That's nothing new. There's many opportunities out there for us to do the things that we want to do, and there's many times where we may have to sit something out because it's for the better good of your situation, if you would. So, I don't know, I just really thinking about what it means to live in my purpose, and understanding that it needs to be something that reflects who I am and what I want to do, and what I'm called to do, what gets my juices going, what gets me happy, what gets me feeling so good about what I'm doing, and helps me persevere on. Because when you're doing stuff that makes you happy, let me tell you, it isn't work, okay? It just isn't. You may have to do a lot of things to get things together. There might be some challenges along the way, but when you love what you do, when you are passionate about what you do, it's not work. It's your purpose. It's what gets you moving. It's what fulfills you in ways that you may not even can comprehend at the time when you start that decision to move forward and living in what is your purpose. So back to that example, I assessed and made the decision to go the unsafe way. And that's not typically like me. Okay? That's just not. And I'm laughing because I'm thinking of some people who probably like, no, that's not April. April was going to make sure that it's a plan that's laid out. But, I just took a leap of faith, because the bottom line is I knew I knew that I was supposed to be doing something else. I knew that it was time to step out on faith and just embrace what challenges may come from this decision and accept the fact that you are doing this because it is what innately you're supposed to be doing. One thing that I'm so blessed for is the opportunities professionally that I've had throughout my career. And I have seen and met so many different people from all different walks of life. And really, a lot of my career positionings were just a continuation of what I was used to being in, as far as my life and moving around and doing all different things and just being involved in different things. That's just what I'm used to. And I'm pretty excited about the fact that I've had those opportunities. So with that, I just had a moment. But what were we talking about? Okay, living in your purpose. Yes. All right. So yeah, being, so grateful about the things that I've done in my life. I took note in that, a lot of those areas of career were the building blocks and definitely the stepping stones to where my passion is now lied and where my purpose is now. And every single opportunity in all of those positions were ones that really were crafting what my purpose was going to be. And so, when I made that decision on the other side of that proverbial fork in the road, it was one of the best decisions I could have ever made. I mean, who ever thought how much more enriched in life I would be? And now, mind you, I do miss some of the things that were accompanied in, my past life, if you will, in my career path. There was a lot of great things, and I learned so much and had so many opportunities to do so many things that pulled me out of my comfort zone to now I'm doing things that I would never have thought I would have done just a few years ago even. I mean, just the blossoming that you feel when you have finally hit what you're supposed to be doing. And I remember the first time that I had made that decision when that proverbial fork in the road moment happened again. And let me tell you, I was struggling because I always felt this fire inside of me to move forward in a direction that I just really wasn't in. But I wanted to go there. I could literally see my life laid out as if I was doing that, right? Some type of example of that, what it would meant to be doing, different type of meetings that were affiliated with that particular line of business, and what it would mean to start interacting in that way and bringing whatever my messaging was going to be and fulfilling that venture with that messaging and then putting it out. Because you see, one thing I've always feel like I know about myself is I've always wanted to be in a position of helping others. I've always wanted to be in a position in, seeing those moments on people's face when you've helped them do something and like they're so excited because they got it, or there was some kind of help that you provided that led someone to making life decisions for themselves in, that professional or personal venture. And it worked out, and they were so excited, and you just were a part of that. It's such a wonderful way of human celebration. And I just absolutely loved it. And you know, it's funny because I think back when I was a kid, I was a pretty shy kid. I want to say I was probably shy, yes, but I was also just pretty quiet. And I was one of those individuals who kind of sit back in a cut and reflect on things and watch things. I was an observer. And I also had I guess, a quiet stillness about me that that really just kind of was the way I was as I was growing up. And, you know, when I think about those times, I'm so appreciative of the opportunities of, like, you know, getting into debate teams, getting onto the speech team, and, you know, doing those types of things that got me to be able to really share my voice, my opinions, my thoughts with others, and, you know, really making a difference in a positive way. And that is something that I think that I've always, you know, really glommed onto. You know, I always wanted to make a difference in somebody's life, you know, a positive difference in somebody's life, to where when you leave this earth, you know that somebody can reflect back and say, you know what, I'm so glad that I knew that person. I'm so glad that that person was in my life. And I think that is like just the ultimate, the ultimate finality, so to speak, that I want to leave. You know, it's interesting. I remember when I was in the military, one of the things that in a session that I had, in a training session, there was a conversation that was had and a question that was asked of us, and it was to write out your eulogy. Now, of course, on first glance, you're like, what do you mean write out my eulogy? Look, I'm trying to live for today. I'm not trying to hear about not being around at all later on, okay? It's just not what I need to be worried about or focused on. But see, the reason was I would say, is how you are putting yourself and setting yourself on the path to be seen, to be remembered in the way that you have had your eulogy written down. You know, kind of walking the walk and walking in those steps of performing in those ways, obviously earnestly and authentically, where that is what people remember you for. And, you know, look, I'm one of those ones, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, you know, I was, you know, definitely one of those hard workers, okay? Hard charging, hard workers. Any supervisor I've ever had will tell you that, okay? I got the end of year ratings to prove it. But one thing I did not want to be left with was someone putting on my tombstone or in my eulogy, you know, she works well, or she worked well. I needed to have more. I needed to have more fulfillment. I wanted to feel like I left a mark. So in order to do that, I had to make adjustments. I had to see myself in a different way. I had to start looking at broadening my horizon and really tapping into areas that I may have just put at bay because I wanted to charge right on into whatever it was I was focusing on. And I think when you sit back and really start to reflect and think about what is it that makes me happy? What is it that makes my heart sing? It's amazing that sometimes maybe what you are doing currently isn't necessarily what you maybe should be doing as a long-term purpose in life. It may be an element that you're doing because, you know, the whole saying, a reason or a season or a lifetime, well, maybe it's a reason and maybe it's for a season. But then now it's time for you to start taking what you have learned from these aspects and start putting them in place so you can start branching out to what it is you feel you want to do. And I think if you take an honest reflection of what you enjoy in life, what you like to see, how you want to show up, you'd be amazed of how the fireworks, so to speak, go off in you. Like you finally got it, like ding, ding, ding. Yes, this is what I've been telling you you should be doing. And I cannot tell you how wonderful it is to finally be on a path, right? To finally be on a road that goes a direction of where you're trying to go, right? You know, sometimes how you may feel like you see the road and you're kind of just going parallel to it because you keep doing the things that may not be exactly what you're supposed to be doing at that moment in time, but you keep seeing that road and it's there, but you're over here. And now you got to figure out how you're going to get yourself over here, you know? So I just think that be grateful for the things that you have been able to do. Be thankful for the way that you have been able to enrich lives of others, how you've been able to help others, how you've been able to be, you know, just a sounding board, whatever it may be. Be so grateful for the opportunities that put you in that mindset to do that, because, it's amazing what it feels like when you have finally decided on what it is you're supposed to do with your life. Sometimes when people say, you should be living your purpose, do what you do, find what you need to do, and you're saying, like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, look, there's so many of us who are doing things and have done things that was because of another reason. May not be exactly what we wanted to do. So what I say to individuals that find themselves in that kind of a position, start reflecting now on what it is you want to do, and then start taking those steps to move in that direction. Because the bottom line is, an unfulfilled dream is, I think, one of the most heartbreaking things, especially when you don't even try, And if you, I don't know, if I look at my younger self, and could I imagine that I would be doing and have done some of the things that I have done in my life, I would be like, no way, I did that, really? Because that just wasn't really what I thought I would be doing, And it's just amazing when you open yourself up to the loveliness of the world, so to speak. So, yeah, so living your purpose, how does that reflect a lot in for this year? Well, it's to basically start cutting out the things that just don't matter, Let's just stop with that, okay? Let's just start looking at what matters most to us. And I think for a lot of us, family, friends, loved ones, and taking time for ourselves is going to rank up at the top of the list when you sit back and reflect. And if you're not doing those things, start figuring out a way to do those things, okay? Because at the end of the day, there is a whole world out here, and there is a whole lot of opportunities out here to find a way to live your purpose. And do it in such a way that is not only a benefit to your being, but to benefit to others. And boy, if I can't tell you how much in this year, we need each other, okay? That's just the end all be all, all right? Because we all need to just find a way to hang in there together to get through this thing called life, and yeah, and so, living your purpose to me is just really taking that inventory and assessing what makes you happy, what makes you move in a way that brings joy, brings service to someone who absolutely needs it. And there's so many ways to do that. I know one thing that was probably difficult for me, because I had always been in I really, had a real structured career path, was really trying to figure out what those things were. And, kind of maybe stepping away a little bit when I thought, ooh, that might be a little bit too left. I don't know. Too different, too foreign. But now, and really honestly, over the last couple of years, but even so much more now this year of the focus, now it's just all about embracing life, embracing, whatever it is that you need to do in order to get to where you need to get to. Because, no one way is promised to just one person. We all can find a way to just step into our purpose and really be such a light for so many people, and feel enriched and empowered, and feel like you are really leaving a mark. And I don't know, for you, I mean, for me, it's just, isn't that what I want? I just want to leave a mark, and I want to leave a mark of positivity, a mark of a life well lived, and a mark of leaving someone with good thoughts and positive thoughts and loving thoughts of what I was able to do to help them. And I don't know what to tell you, but this year has really, truly brought that home. So, I challenge all of us to keep living in our purpose. I challenge us to make sure that we are assessing what that is for us. And if we have not done that already, let's stop and take a moment to do so. That's part of self-care. Put that on that list, okay? And if you have found what your purpose is, then you keep pushing in it, because you are an example to so many of us who, when we can look at you and see you doing that, we feel, we could do that too. And the world needs many, many people living in their purpose. And living your purpose doesn't always mean what others may think or see of you doing. Sometimes it could be that, but there's also times where, what is it that you want to do? What does your heart tell you to do? And you need to live in it. So how do I feel when I'm living in my purpose? Like that. I've got that song in my head and I'm happy. And that's the kind of life that I want to live. And that's the kind of life I want to embrace. So I happily welcome all of what it needs to take to get and maintain on that path of living in my purpose. Well, everybody, my goodness, I told you we're going to go a little deep here. But I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I hope that you found some, usefulness in today's area of conversation. I hope that if you haven't started zoning in on what it means to be living in your purpose and really assessing what you should be doing with your time, I hope that this video will be an encouraging concept for you to do that, to start taking a look at how you can get yourself moved on into that direction, for you to be doing the things that make you happy, bring you joy, and also, bring joy and help and service to others. Because again, when you are living in your purpose and you are doing what it is that you feel that you are called to do, it's not work. It's just life and living in your purpose. So with that, I guess I'll end it there. I hope, again, that you enjoyed today's video, and I do hope that you have a wonderful rest of the week, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. And I am so excited to see you next time. So until then, you take care and be safe. Bye.